The opener against American Danny Olson. That one is on table 24. So they are the main stories at the moment. Petri Mäkinen there of Finland, someone else who's been around for some time, with a 2-1 lead over Michael Feliciano, the Philippines player who got to the final of 2 big ranking events in 2023. Big things expected of him this year, and a small early deficit in that one. So, the warm-ups are finished, and Johann Chua and Bernie Regalario are going to get things underway. Do you know much about Regalario, Imran? He's someone there's been a lot of talk about over the last 6 months or so as a real promising talent.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a seasoned Filipino player. I know most of the old school players, maybe some of the up-and-coming ones. But I recently saw him play in the Premier Pool League. I think that was in Connecticut, Jason Shaw's club. And he played some good stuff there, yeah. Wasn't quite to his normal level. Maybe jet lag or whatever, all that commuting all the way from Philippines played a part. But he played some good stuff there. Definitely got potential to be one of the best, yeah. I like his game. It's, yeah, very, what could I say, clinical. Yeah, quite clinical at times.
Yeah, we always know anyone who comes from that part of the world to play in these events, they arrive with a pretty good game to bring with them. Johann Chua's opponent, well, we don't need to tell you anything much about him because he was the star, really, of the Philippines' success in the World Cup of Pool last summer as they won it for the record 4th time in Spain.
Yeah, he played unbelievable in that World Cup of Pool. Sorry, I have to go back to that because the shot making on display in that tournament by Johann Chua was unbelievable. Well deserved.
Yeah, I think fair to say in this one, to sum it up, Chua the favourite, but it's not going to be a major shock, you know, if Regalario wins this, given his growing reputation.
Absolutely not. It's a race to 9, and as we know, there's some luck involved in the game, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But you've got to say, on paper, Chua's the favourite, more experience. Has probably had more international experience as well, which counts for a lot. Nice break off there, gets the 1 in the side, has lost the cue ball, so doesn't have a shot on the 2. Will have to push out. See the 1 going straight in the side pocket with some speed. It had some momentum on that ball. It's a tricky push out here. I don't see anything obvious straight away. I think he's got a... Yeah, whatever he did, he's probably going to be in trouble. Now, I'm not sure how much of the 2 ball he can see, but I do see a 2 ball in off the 9 in the middle. I'm pretty sure that's on. I think he's having a look at that angle now.
Second time today, Chua's been on the main table. 9-0 win earlier against Vincent Faqet of France.
Yeah, he went for the 2 off the 9 into the middle. Has given up a shot for Bernie, and now it's pretty open table. He's got a nice easy starter, so he'd want to get this rack under his belt.
Regalario obviously has played a match as well. Came through it almost as comfortably. 9-2 winner over Ashik Nathwani, representing India.
He's got a nice demeanour about himself around the table. He's not too hurried. Plays at a nice momentum. Looks pretty relaxed, cool.
Yeah, we saw Regalario make a bit of an impact at the Hanoi Open. Eventually went out in the last 32 to Levan Corteza, more experienced compatriot.
That's right, Mike. I was there at that tournament in Hanoi. Yeah, he played some good stuff there. I think that was the tournament that kind of put him on the map, if you like, because he got some good wins under his belt and showed the world what he can do.
And something else that looks as though he's going to have under his belt in a moment is the opening rack. Taking these very confidently, and this is for a 1-0 lead. Bernie Regalario wins the opener against Johann Chua in this all-Philippines clash. They're playing for a place, remember, in winners' qualification, so you get through that, and you'll be into the single elimination stage. Now, I was telling you about experienced Philippines player Roland Garcia, who was looking pretty comfortable against Yannick Pongers, but he ended up losing that match 9-8. That's in the first round, so Pongers will now play another Philippines player, Jeffrey Ignacio, in the second round.
Yeah, you take your foot off the gas a little bit in this game. One little bit of loss of focus, and the guy can come back 4, 5, 6 racks, no problem. That's why it's a pretty cutthroat game, I would say.
Yeah, well, Konrad Yasushin was really charging back against Carl Boyes from 4-0 down. He levelled at 4-all. But Boyes has now won the 9th rack, so he's now leading 5-4. Looks as though if he gets through, he'll play Alvin Angito, who has an 8-2 lead over Jedlecki Thomas.
Yeah, one ball in the side again. Doesn't have a shot on the 2 again, which is a big part about this new break format. Well, I say new, but it's been around for a few years. But you're not always guaranteed to be on the lowest ball. There is an element of luck involved, and this is preferred by the players.
Just one more score I want to bring you up to date on. We were keeping an eye on Loh Ho Sum, the former World Masters runner-up from Hong Kong. Was looking good early on, but Hassan Shahid was hanging in there. Loh Ho Sum, though, now on the hill at 8-5. And if he gets through, we'll probably play Mustafa Alnar, who's leading 8-1 over Paul Williams.
I'm not sure what Bernie's looking at here. Maybe a kick shot to hook him back. I don't see an obvious one straight away. Let's see what he plays. Is he playing it soft? Yeah, he's playing it soft. No, I didn't like that. That's a foul. It's a foul. Nothing hit a rail after contact. The object ball or the cue ball didn't hit a rail. He needed to play that firmer.
Chua will be 32 next month. Start of the year ranked 60th in the world, but if he plays a decent schedule, you have to think that's a number that's going to absolutely tumble as 2024 goes on. Playing professionally since he was in his teens, so very experienced at this stage. He's a World Championship quarter-finalist a full decade ago. addition to his World Cup win last year, he had some excellent individual results in some of the big events. And wins over Jason Shaw, Joshua Filler. Actually beat Filler 9-1 in the Spanish Open.
Yeah, put on a clinic against him. I watched that match. Yeah, he was just faultless. Anything he did was turning to gold, and he played great on top of that. Just going to play an intricate positional shot here from the 4 to the 5. Looks like he's going forward. Yeah. It's nice to see Carl and Jeremy play in this tournament, Mike.
Yeah, last-minute decision for both of them there. It was just decided during the World Masters when we were in Germany for that a couple of weeks ago that there were a couple of spots open, and someone had the idea of why not get these old stagers in. And
yeah, why not? They're both great players, and they could do some damage.
And of course, Carl Boys played in the Scottish Open last week. Smaller event than this, but really strong field, and beat Alban Ocean there.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I was there. I watched him play. He's a natural, Carl, at a lot of things. He was knocking in 180s for fun on the dartboard. You know, play a record pull.
I've seen him play darts, yeah. And he hides his light under a bushel as well. As a snooker player, he's exceptionally good at that too.
That's right, yeah.
Johann Chua's not bad either, and he's won that second rack to level with Bernie Regalario. Now let's look at some of the other matches going on in this round. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who'll be defending his world title in a few weeks' time in Saudi Arabia, leads Britain's Adam Smith by 3 racks to 2. Claudio Cacci, younger brother of our defending champion Eklund Cacci, making quite a name for himself in the pool world. Claudio leads Dennis Grabber of Estonia 2-1. Torsten Homan, former world champion, who was a quarter-finalist actually in that Scottish Open, was beaten by the eventual runner-up Oscar Dominguez. Homan is leading 3-1 against Oliver Lawrence. Duong Kwok Wang, who ended up winning the tournament in Scotland, has taken the first rack against American Danny Olson. And Michael Feliciano of the Philippines, who got to a couple of big finals last year, 3-2 down early on against the experienced Finnish player Petri Mäkinen. Babken Melkonyan, who beat Jeremy Jones earlier today, has taken the opener against the former World Championship semi-finalist Abdullah Al Yusuf. And that brings us up to date with the big stories going on in this round. Mickey Kraus of Denmark is leading 2-0 over the British player Chris Alexander, who we had in the commentary box a little earlier. 1-1 in the early stages of this one.
There you see Johann Chua's break a little bit harder and has come up dry. Yeah, put quite a bit of power into that one. I think if you are going to adopt the harder break at this format, you really need to pay attention on your Q-tip position on the white ball.
So explain to us why you're saying that, Imran.
Because if you slightly mishit the white, you're coming through at a very fast speed, you won't get that one ball in the side. Now, Eklund Cacci, who's probably got the best break on tour and has a very powerful break, he's the one who told me this. You've got to have good Q-tip position on your cue ball, as well as the power. So, yeah, it's not easy to do. So that was one of the best breakers in the game. 9-ball was close there. Does have a bank on the 8-ball with the 2 here. Just try and stay at the table. now he's got a problem getting from the 3 to the 4. He probably draws it back. He probably draws past the side pocket here with some outside English. 5 o'clock on the cue ball. Has got some angle on the 4 ball, but I don't think it's too much of a problem to kill the cue ball for the 5 in the side. Can play it with some low outside spin. Played that nicely.
Comes across as one of those young rising players who just sees everyone as another opponent. He's not really that interested in what someone has done in the past or what they've achieved. Sort of feels he's just out there with a chance to win against anyone he faces.
Exactly, he stays in the moment well. I think it's the case with most of the Filipinos that they grow up playing the game, playing one-on-one challenge matches, or we can say money matches, and that kind of sets them in good stead for tournaments. And if they come up against a good player, you know, they're not too phased because they're always kind of in action all the time, every day.
Yeah, and given that the scene is so strong in the Philippines, if you've reached the level where you're coming from there to play in these big international events, where you're going to be accustomed to playing big name, experienced players anyway. But just as we're saying all that, the rack that looked to be going his way may not now turn out like that, because chance has been handed here to Chua. This was unexpected, Imran.
Yeah, we didn't expect that at all. I think he was, because he was drawing the cue ball past the side pocket, maybe it took his eye off the ball a little bit there.
This is no certainty, though. But if he does get it, should be 2-1 in Chua's favour. Yeah, simple 9 to follow. So Chua lost the opening rack to Bernie Regalario, but he's won 2 in a row since, and he now leads for the first time in the match at 2-1. Konrad Yasusin has levelled once again with Karl Boys at 5-all, so the Polish player has now won 5 of the last 6 racks, having lost all of the first 4. And Loho Sum has now won, former World Masters runner-up, 9-5 against Hassan Shahid. So very much into the last knockings now of today's action in round 1. Focus gradually shifting to the round we're watching here, round 2, where Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, the world number 1, has taken rack 6 to now lead Adam Smith 4-2. João Grillo, who we saw in the last 16 of the Spanish Open last summer, now leading 6-1 in the all-Portuguese clash with Ricardo Mota. Dennis Graba 3-2 up on Claudio Cacci, and things looking even better now for the 2-time world champion Torsten Homan. He leads Britain's Oliver Lawrence 4-1. Petri Mäkinen has extended his lead to 5-2 over Michael Feliciano, another Philippines player who really burst onto the scene and made quite an impact on the World 9-Ball Tour throughout 2023. And Duong Kwok Hwang, winner of the Scottish Open last weekend, has now won the second rack to lead Danny Olsen of the US 2-0. Abken Melkonyan 2-0 up against Abdullah Al Yusuf, and Roman Hibbler has taken the first against last year's US Open semi-finalist Alexa Pechelj. Mickey Kraus flying against Britain's Chris Alexander It's now 4-0 in that one. If he wins it, he may well play the defending champion Eklenkachi in the next round. Back here, it's 2-1 to Chua.
Oh, stayed with the hard break. And did get the one in the side. No shot on the two again.
Big moment for Chua in one of these Matchroom Open events. Was at the US Open 3 years ago. First of the Atlantic City era. Beat John Morra to go through to the quarterfinals and was only beaten in a hill finish by the defending champion, sorry, the eventual winner of that tournament, Carlo Beato. So he was one rack away from the last four, and who knows what might have happened from there.
Chua played a kick shot, but I don't think he intended to play it like that. Has got the snooker. He was rather unlucky on the break. He had a shot on every single ball apart from the two ball. So that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So he's aiming at the two ball to hit that diamond, middle diamond on the long rail. Let's see how close he gets to that. No, mishit it. As a left a shot up for Chua. Not easy, mind you, slightly hampered with the 7. He's got to bear down on this one. When you're elevating, any unwanted side can, you know, take the cue ball off line and you can miss the pot. So got to stay still. Wasn't easy because he was elevated. Probably makes the shot like 5 times harder when you're elevated, something like that.
We're watching an all-Philippines match here, Imran, and I suspect we'll see a lot of these on the World 9-Ball Tour throughout 2024. But from a player's perspective, try to give us a sense of just how big a deal the game is in the Philippines, where it really is one of the major mainstream sports.
It is. I think it's actually the first major sport, mainstream sport in the Philippines is basketball. And then you have pool. I mean, out of all the sports, football, tennis, pool is #2 sport in the Philippines. And yeah, you can almost say it's a national sport out there. I've been there countless times to the Philippines to play, and there's pool tables absolutely everywhere. In the streets, in the alleys, on top of mountains, you name it. There's a pool table.
Top of mountains?
Yeah, I've seen
some on top of mountains. You get a few rolls up there.
Yeah. Yeah, they love it out there.
Yeah, and, you know, you talk about Efren Reyes. Well, I mean, he is just one of the biggest icons from any field in that country.
Yeah, I do think that's why they do have a big player base in the Philippines, because if you've got the GOAT coming out of a country, a lot of other up-and-coming players are going to try and follow in his footsteps and try and be as great as him, but that's a hard task for anyone to be as great as him. But no, that's why they have such a big following out there. Has he gone too far? Yes, he has gone too far. Not feeling totally comfortable, Bernie, in this match so far. But it is early doors. Hopefully he'll find some rhythm, some momentum, and play how he can play. Just looking at a thin safety behind the 8 and 9. He's going to push the 6 over the pocket and will leave a jump shot, so he's trying to think of a better solution.
In the background there, you see the very distinctive UK Open trophy. It's been won by Joshua Filler and Eklund Kachi, and it's 2 stagings so far.
That's a pretty good shot. I don't think Chua can make this ball. From where he was, I think that's a pretty good shot. It was very touchy to get the 6 right behind the 7 like that. His speed control needed to be exemplary. Very nice shot, I like it. Could have easily gone wrong though, that shot. Well, Chua's going to kick one rail. You would have thought, or is he going direct at the ball? Okay, direct at the ball. And has left it up. I liked the kick shot there to try and get some separation. I do see the method in his madness, what he was trying to play, but it was very, very difficult. Great chance here for Bernie to level up. Well, I say great chance. I'm not sure if the 8 ball goes past the 9 here. If not, we'll soon find out after this shot. Flies in. A little bit on the rail, but should be all right. Just got to focus on the pot. Position is natural.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Imran. You were saying at first it was a great chance, and then it's one of those you look at a bit more closely and you realise there's a little bit of figuring out to do, but he's done it nicely, and having lost the last 2 racks, Bernie Regalario has taken this one and has levelled again against Johann Chua at 2-all in this race to 9. Also level, but at a much more advanced stage. In the previous round, it's 6-all now between Konrad Yasushin and Carl Boyes, who did lead 4-0 at one stage in that match. And also in that round, the old British clash between Jake Newlove and Kevin May is level at 5-all. The reason we're keeping a close eye on that one is because there's a very big prize for the winner, because they are playing for the right to take on the 5-time US Open champion Shane Van Boening in this second round. Speaking of which, in the second round, Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz, runner-up in the inaugural staging of this event a couple of years ago in London, now leads 5-2 over Adam Smith. 3-all between Dennis Graba and Cledio Kachi. Torsten Homan continuing a very good day. 6-1 up now against Oliver Lawrence. Last weekend's winner in Scotland, Duong Kwok Hwang, has a 3-1 lead over American Danny Olson. And Petri Mäkinen, very experienced player, but still a surprise to see him leading by such a comfortable margin as 7-2 against Michael Feliciano. 2-all here.
Very nice break. That's absolutely textbook. Look, cue ball's bang in the middle of the table. He's got a shot on the tree, on the 3. Very nice break.
Yeah, I'd certainly say of all the breaks I've seen so far in this opening day, that is without question the best. How are you feeling about your own game, Imran, in this event? Have you
Not
got
bad at all.
optimism about going far?
Yes, I have. I always do in every tournament. I've come in here in good form from Glasgow, which was my first tournament of the year. So I felt a bit of pressure over there, which I wanted and which I needed to get into kind of tournament mode. And I believe I'm in tournament mode now. So things can only get better from here.
Well, I think it's fair to say 2023 in these events was a pretty good year for you.
Not bad at all, yeah. I got a couple of ninth places in the major tournaments. Had some good scalps, beat a few world champions. Yeah, not bad at all.
This is looking good for Bernie Regalario. We really praised his break, and this so far is the result of it.
Yeah, he wants to place his white in the middle of the table here. Yeah, that would do, so he can swing round 2 rails for position for the 8 in the same pocket.
Very competent 5th rack from Bernie Regalario. Started with a wonderful break, multiple balls down off it, and all pretty routine from there. So once again, he leads Johann Chua at 3 racks to 2. Now, I told you it was 6-all in that match we're keeping an eye on in the first round between Konrad Yasusin and Carl Boyes. Well, the British player has very quickly advanced from there now to an 8-6 lead. So he only needs one more. He's on the hill.
Yeah, that was quick. It was 6-6 like 20 seconds ago.
Yeah.
He might have got a 9-ball.
Well, this is what I'm suspecting, a golden break.
Yeah.
We might be seeing a lot of you in the commentary box if Carl goes on a run. But then again, you might be busy yourself playing a lot of matches. Yeah, great to see at the UK Open, British players winning matches.
Yeah, heavy contingent have come over, you know, playing this UK Open because there's been qualifiers leading up to this for the last 5 or 6 weeks, and a lot of the English players have been battling away, finally getting their spot in the UK Open. So they're kind of in practice mode, in match mode. Their games are in good shape, been playing a lot of qualifiers. And as we saw in the World Snooker Championship recently, there was 3 qualifiers in the last 4. So just goes to show that all that match practice does help. Another good break.
I think that's going to be one of the themes, Imran, in 2024, you know, because so often the first couple of days of these Matchroom Open events, we see a lot of 9-0s, 9-1s, and some guys who just come out and can't really compete. But of course, if everyone's had to get in via either their ranking or qualifiers, you're going to see that happening far, far less from now on.
Yes, definitely, yeah. You know, the aim here is to make a professional tour, whereas before you could just pay your entry and get in. But now you have to qualify, you have to, you know, be there by credit.
Well, it was a good break from Regalario, but that wasn't guaranteed that he was going to follow it up with what he was left, and indeed he has immediately opened the door for Chua. And while he tries to figure that one out, let's see what's going on over on table 2. Carl Boyes has that great win over Alban Ocean in a good run at the Scottish Open last week. He could be about to claim another good result. As we were saying, it was only a few minutes ago, Imran, we were looking at this and it was 6-all, and Boyes now is 3 balls away from victory. Well, he took that very confidently, and it's a simple 9 now, so Carl Boyes is going to clear his first hurdle in this UK Open. Strong finish. He beats Konrad Yasushin of Poland by 9 racks to 6. And will now face Alvin Angito for a place in winners' qualification. It really is impressive, isn't it? Because, you know, you talk about experience and career record. Clearly, Boys has by far the better of the two there. But he's hardly played a tournament for about 5 or 6 years now. So to come out and be producing results like this really is very commendable.
Yeah, like I said, he's a natural talent. Yeah, he could have won the tournament in Scotland without any practice. He's that kind of beast, you know. Abundance of natural talent. And obviously a good winning mindset, which I think he has developed over the years when he was playing pool. Obviously he was a MVP in the Moscone Cup a couple of times, I believe.
He's one of those guys who, you know, when you meet him, you would think he's probably very laid back about it and almost doesn't care whether he wins or loses. When he gets out on the table, there's a competitive animal there. And even when he was assistant captain at the Moscone Cup, you saw he turned into a completely different character. It means a huge amount to him. Meanwhile, back in this match, Johann Chua has levelled it up once again. It was 1-all, it was 2-all, it is now 3-all in this race to 9. So in this second round that we're watching here, João Griot now on the hill in that all-Portuguese clash with Ricardo Motta at 8-2. Cledio Cachi has edged ahead of Dennis Graba again at 4-3. Duong Kwok Hwang steadily pulling away against Danny Olsen. It's now 4-1 in that. And 2-all now between Abdullah Al Yusuf, who was 2-0 down, and Babken Melkonyan. Mickey Kraus, a couple of racks away from completing a whitewash, leads Chris Alexander, British player, 7-0. Different story here, though. Level pegging at 3-all.
Oh, 9-ball in the corner
Here
pocket.
we go. Well, it almost went in the side, but as soon as it slipped past it, you could see the potential there for it to run along the rail into the corner, and indeed it has. So Johann Chua, who about 90 seconds ago was 3-2 down in this match, is now leading it at 4 racks to 3. Well, GB stands for Great Britain when we are this week, and it also stands for Golden Break. And that's certainly the first I've seen. We suspect Carl Boys may have had one, because he did get through a rack very quickly. We'll find out from him.
Carl maybe had a 1 or 2. He won 2 racks in like 4 minutes or something like that. So maybe he had one. That is very doable if you're adopting this the hard break in this format. Cue ball's obviously coming off the rail into the 9-ball, so it can go towards the corner or the side pocket. That one was kind of unusual, hit the point of the side pocket, trickled up the rail. Yeah, he's hitting them good. He's found the measure of the break now. As Chua, no shot on the 2-ball. He's probably going to play a safety.
Speaking of golden breaks, we had that extraordinary situation at the World Masters where Fedor Gorst and Shane Van Boning were playing in back-to-back matches. There were only 2 matches in the session, and both of them had a golden break with their very first shot of the match.
Oh, wow.
Such a wonderful occasion, the World Masters final. Joshua Filler looking to win a big title in his home country, and looked like he might do it when he led Gorst 12-10. Gorst coming back to win the last 3 and win in a hill-hill finish. Great atmosphere in Hildesheim. Huge success there.
He's played that well. He caught the 2-ball very nicely. A thin clip. Didn't get the snooker. It was very close, though. Yeah, Fedor done very well, winning the Masters final. Yeah, I think he's going to win a lot more. And it's scary that he's so young and he's got so much room for improvement at such a young age.
Well, he was very consistent in doing well in the Matchroom events in 2023, but kept getting to the later stages and falling. He was a quarter-finalist in a number of those events, so it did feel like only a matter of time before he won a big Matchroom individual title. Has, of course, been world champion, but that was before it became a Matchroom event and what it is now.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a multiple world champion. This is nice. He's got some cover here. Left a jump shot. Chua's probably going to go airborne.
João Grillo is the first player through to winners' qualification, a 9-2 winner over his fellow Portuguese player Ricardo Mota.
Yeah, he's got his jump cue out. Can't really do too much with the cue ball. Elevating quite a lot there. Made the hit, wasn't far away from the pot, but has given up a shot for Bernie. They're going toe-to-toe in this match and could set up another draw at 4-4 here. He's got a good chance to run out here.
You could see massive elevation required on the cue there, and it was a good effort, which perhaps could arguably be said to have deserved a bit more good fortune, but it has left a chance for Regalario.
And there's our ref, Julian Roper, who was also in Glasgow a couple of days ago.
Well, he had a massive week the week before that because he was at the World Masters. It was the first time he'd been out there centre stage in front of the TV cameras, and it was wonderful to see a young man enjoying himself so much. He loved being out there and he did a fine job.
He's an excellent referee and really puts his heart and soul into every rack when racking the balls. Really enjoys it. He's a good little player as well. I've known him for many years. Used to play on the GB 9-ball tour in England, and now he's a referee. Travels the world, but playing Matchroom events or refereeing in Matchroom events. Yeah, he had to open the 8 and 9 there because I don't think the 8 was available into any pocket. So that's a good opening shot. It's got to be careful. It's not easy to get on the 5-ball. He's a little bit flat, hasn't got too much angle, so probably needs to force this a little bit. That's not great because he doesn't have too much angle now to get out into the middle of the table. Not sure if he can play rail first. Depends how much the 5-ball is off the rail. He did play rail first with outside English. Very good shot. Better shot than it looked, actually. And in prime position now.
Well, it's turning into one of those matches, isn't it? They've been level at every possible opportunity. There's never been more than one in it either way. And those patterns are being maintained here.
Yeah, and you would expect this to be a pretty close match. If I had to call it, I'd probably say 9-7 either way.
Well, at the moment, it's 4-all after Bernie Regalario took his opportunity there to level us up once again. So I told you João Griot was through to winners qualification. The same can now be said of Petri Mäkinen, who's beaten Michael Feliciano by 9 racks to 3. Now, Mäkinen, very experienced player, former World Cup of Pool winner with Finland, but that's still a fine result, particularly by that margin, given Feliciano's growing reputation. The likelihood is, at the moment, that Mäkinen will now play Duong Kwok Hwang, winner of the Scottish Open last weekend. He's 5-1 up against Danny Olsen. And another player who may be through to winners qualification very soon is Mickey Kraus of Denmark, because he's on the hill at 8-0 against Chris Alexander. And in fact, just as I said that, he's potted the winning 9-ball in rack 9. So the whitewash is complete.
Well, I wouldn't expect that, because Chris is a great player. Mickey must have just frozen him out or just played a perfect set.
Yeah, Mickey Kraus is someone who people have been talking about for about 3 or 4 years as someone who can come through and make it into the top bracket. I think it's fair to say it hasn't quite happened for him yet, but that will certainly help him along. A 9-0 win there against a useful opponent. He could now play the defending champion, Eklund Kachi, although Kachi is a tough one. Before that, against Jose Alberto Delgado. Impossible to call this one at the moment, roughly at the halfway stage, and it's 4-all. Regalario to break.
Pretty good break. I'm not sure if the 2 goes past the 4. If it does, he's got a good chance to run out this rack. It's very tight. He just has to stop his cue ball there if it does go. I think it does, yeah. And looking at his body language and how he's sizing himself up to get down for the shot, yeah, it does go. Doesn't have to do much with the cue ball. Can put a stroke on it and go into the rail if he wants to. It's obviously always a good idea to let your stroke go. Oh, gotta remember to pot the ball, Bernie. Yeah, there's a couple of shots in the open play. Didn't expect Bernie to miss. But we can let him off. It's not easy traveling from Manila. I went to the Hanoi Open last year, and you know, I found the jet lag is a problem. Different time zones and different food and water all plays a part.
Yeah, that was a huge issue for a lot of people. I know I hardly got any sleep the entire week in Hanoi because the jet lag was throwing everything so much out of whack. So you got to bear it in mind with these players. They've got to go out there and concentrate and be sharp right from the off. Of course, both these players have already played a match today and have both come through.
Has he lost the cue ball here? I think so. He miscalculated the kiss on the 6. I think he was maybe playing it harder to play the 4 in the side. I'm not sure. What can the Filipino kid conjure up here? They're pretty good in the safety side of the game and the kicking, so I fancy him to put him in a good snooker here. He could clip off it and come 1 rail into the 9, maybe. Yeah, that's what he's looking at. He's looking at, if I leave him there, what kind of jump shot do I leave him? So he's thinking ahead. Yeah, plain and simple, and he's got cover. That's a good, effective safety. He could have played another shot, but he would have left a jump, and then you're at the mercy of, you know, what happens after the jump. You know, he can fluke the ball, or he can resave you. This way, he's cut out the jump shot, which is good thinking. Bernie's going to have to spin this off the bottom rail. Okay, he's going 3 rails. Well, he's looking at 3 rails, which is a possibility. I like it. He's just got to miss the 6 ball. It was a nice effort. Yeah, nice effort.
Feels like one of those matches, Imran, where we can all save ourselves a lot of time by just going straight to the hill finish, because not guaranteed, of course, but it just has such a feel of that. Nobody's established any momentum or got on top of the other player at any stage of it at all.
Yeah, here's Chua's chance to put some daylight in the scores. If he can win this rack, break and run another one, he'll be 2 racks clear for the first time in this match.
Yeah, it was with James Aranis that he won the World Cup of Pool last year for the Philippines. They started off against the host and holders, Spain, and beat them. Close one. And then they beat Spain B in the second round. That was a much more comfortable win. After that, though, it was drama all the way. They had hill finishes against the Coe brothers in the quarters, and then against Austria. Formidable pairing of Ocean and He in the semi-finals. And even when it looked as though they were going to be comfortable in winning the final against Germany, Joshua Filler and Moritz Neuhausen really came back and made a battle of it. And I think the 11-7 scoreline doesn't fully tell how tense it got towards the finish. But it was a wonderful moment in the career of Johann Chua. And that's been a pretty good moment for him in this match. He leads once again at 5-4. Imran, thanks very much for joining us. I know you've got to go off and play Koh Ping Han, so all the best with that. We'll be keeping an eye on it, and we'll talk to you again later.
It's been a pleasure, Mike.
Cheers, Imran. And just another winner to tell you about. Torsten Homan has beaten Oliver Lawrence, the British player, 9-1. So Homan through to winner's qualification, and there could be a huge age gulf between him and his next opponent, because Claudio Cacci has the upper hand at the moment against Dennis Graba at 5 racks to 4. The winner of that will play Homan in the next round. And Francisco Sanchez Ruiz shouldn't be long in going through to that round as well, because he's 8-2 up against the British player Adam Smith. So he just needs one more to set up a match against João Grillo. So veteran Imran Majid has left the commentary box and has been replaced by the promising newcomer, Carl Boyes. Don't know where this man has been for all these years. Fine win over Conrad Yasush. Carl, well done. You seem to fly out of the blocks in that one.
Yeah, I got to a very good start, to be honest with you. There was quite a lot of safety early on in the match, and I was kind of liking it out there, won't lie.
So you were 4-0 up, and then he came back and made a real contest of it, but you seemed to finish it out very strongly as well, particularly in that last rack, which we actually saw here on the split screen.
Yeah, I played a bit of a weird shot on the 6 ball to get on the 7, but I was just glad to knock it in. But I'll tell you what, you know, the fact that I've not really played on these tables in these open events, I can't stress how tighter they feel, so you feel like your cue ball's got to be a lot better. And certain shots, you know that they're not going to go in at pace, so your angles have got to be better, you know. I feel like I've learnt a lot more. I feel like my commentary would be a bit better. Now I've played a bit. So what have we got here? Chua 5-4 against young Bernie Regalario. What a match this is.
Yeah, never been more than a rack in it either way. We've had a golden break from Chua in rack 7. We've seen a few mistakes made along the way, but a lot of quality as well.
Didn't play the bank. He played to get the wall. It's just signalling where he would have liked it.
So you've got another match to play today. If you win that, you'll be one win away from single elimination. Have you been given any indication when you're playing again?
6:30.
Okay, so plenty of time to get some hours put in on the day job first.
Leave it out, Michael. I believe Jeremy Jones is out there battling it out, Michael, is he? Playing his losers round match?
Yeah, we'll have a look at that when we're rounding up the scores at the end of the rack.
Tricky shot he's faced with here, by the way, because you always want to try and get a good one ball. So if you flick off the right side, you might get a good cue ball, but the one ball looks like it's going to stay in open play. That's why he didn't play it. That's why he played it this way. Not guaranteed to get a safety, but he played the percentage route. And it's not bad, is it? At least the one ball doesn't pop. Don't know if you can see the left side, the left side to Johann, so our right side as we look. If he could, he'd have got down and played the cue ball in behind the 3, so you can land in some awkward spots at 9 ball, I tell you. Sometimes you stood behind the shot, you just think, I don't know what shot to play. You've got to be so creative at times and try and play percentages. That's why the professionals want to play on a tighter pocket, because it's not always easy to play good telling safeties. Sometimes you've got to take a bit of distance. Well, Michael, you can see how difficult this shot is because he's took some time over this. We must be on about 2 minutes now.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of this today. There is no shot clock, of course, until we get down to the last 16 stage.
He's trying to vision if he hits the one ball into that 2. One ball comes off the back rail, the bottom rail, where it's going. He feels like it's going into the 9. Let's see if he's right. That's the shot he's playing. It's gone a little wider. All in all, he's got to take that. It's nice to have these racks. You know, if you're watching 9 ball and you're a big snooker fan, you know how long snooker frames can take with the safeties, you know, playing at distance, and sometimes the black gets tied up. In 9 ball, really, playing safeties back and forth, it usually doesn't take that long before someone's going to attack or even get ball in hand. Oh, what a nice shot he's played here. They are not easy to play thin off the ball. Wants a full ball kick here if he can get to full ball off the top rail, kicking one rail at this yellow one ball. Full ball would send the one ball just above that middle pocket back down on the back rail. Well, he's got distance. Well, this is very dicey. You're trying to pop this ball and come out into the middle of the table. The safety's quite easy. I wouldn't blame him. He could put the one ball on the right-hand side rail and use that red 3 ball and just get the cue ball over on the left rail. He's having a look though, Michael, isn't he?
Well, had a look, didn't play it.
Well, did he play it? He looks a bit bemused, doesn't he?
Beginning to second guess myself now.
Well, he went for a cheeky bank. That was incredibly cheeky. Look at the cue ball to spin round for the blue too. He's left an opportunity here. That looks short of pace to me.
Yeah, for sure. In one sense, there's no pattern emerging in this match. In another sense, it's just been one pattern for the whole contest. It's just been like this, back and forth. Neither player taking the upper hand or looking like they're really going to take a firm grip on the match. Nice shot from Regalario, playing the bank after losing the position he hoped for. He's been level at every possible score. 1-all, 2-all, 3-all, 4-all. Chance that sequence is going to be maintained here. We saw a bit of him last year on the tour. Carl, what do you make of Regalario and his game and his prospects for going on to become one of the leading Philippines players?
I believe he's got the game, I really do. Not seen too much of him, but from what I've seen and heard, of course, news spreads fast in the world of pool. What I do like about him, Michael, is his cue action. As crazy as it sounds, it's very un-Filipino-like. You know, the Filipinos all bring their own style and flair to a pool table. You know, you look at someone like Francisco Bustamante and even Carlo Biado, who's playing this week. The cue's so unique and different, but it's very compact, stays very still on the shot.
Yeah, very technically sound for such a young player. And so, the match continues much as it's been going on all along. Level once again, still impossible to call it either way, so it's 5-all. Then news of Jeremy Jones, who was beaten in a hill-hill finish by Babken Melkonyan in a really long match. First on table 24 this morning. He's gone to the loser's side. He's going to have to win 4 matches to make single elimination, and he's cruising against Britain's Cameron Elliott, leading now by 6 racks to 0. So that's on the loser's side. Back on the winner's side, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, runner-up in this tournament 2 years ago, has won rack 12 to finish it off against Britain's Adam Smith, 9-3. So he'll now play Zhao Grio for a place in the final 64. Juan Kwok-Hwang 6-2 up on Danny Olsen. Abdullah Al Yusuf and Babken Melkonyan are level at 3-all. A lot of matches level. Alexa Pechel's US Open semi-finalist last year is at 3-3 against Roman Hibbler, and it's 5-5 between Cliff Castelline of Belgium and Switzerland's Dimitri Jungo. Number of matches in this round, all playing to get in to winners' qualification. There are still some matches going on in the first round, including that all-British clash between Jake Newlove and Kevin May, where they're playing for the right to take on Shane Van Boning. It's 7-7 in that one. It's 5-5 here.
Well, he can pot this ball, but we all know it's not easy. Maybe able to just get the cue ball in behind the brown 7. We'll have another look in a moment.
Just going back to round 1, Hill finish to tell you about. Doesn't feel like we've had that many of them today. But there is one going on right now on table 10 between Nick Malai and the British player Martinho Correa.
Yeah, I don't believe Bernie will take this 2-ball on. Looking at the table now. Just scared about the 2-ball when you jack up. He'd like this to bounce away from this rail because he's left a swerve shot. Talking about young Bernie, aren't we? You know, I think he's 19 years of age. Johann Chua can't be that old, Michael.
Have a guess what age he is.
He's got to be late 20s. 28?
No, you're being kind to him there. He's actually 32 next month.
Wow, he's getting on a bit.
He's only a decade younger than you.
2 decades younger than you.
Well, not quite. I knew you were going to say something like that, so I had my response prepared.
Kicking off the back rail. Oh, that is delightful. You could just see how close the cue ball was to scratching. How well did he play this, by the way? He's in all kinds of trouble here. Because coming off the bottom rail, so if you can imagine the cue ball just going past the 9, he's got to play it with left-hand spin. You lose a little bit of control with the cue ball. And because the 2-ball's quite far away from the rail, unlike Johann Chua's kick shot, it's harder to control the cue ball. Playing good safeties over the course of a tournament or a season will pay off.
We were talking earlier about Chua's role in that World Cup win in Spain last summer. As Philippines became first ever 4-time winners, breaking the tie with China, who they very nearly faced in the final, actually. China beaten in a close semi-final by Germany. But in the Matchroom individual events in 2023, as I mentioned earlier, Chua had some very good wins, but didn't really go deep in them. Beaten in the last 32 of the World Championship by Max Lechner, same stage of the European Open by Aloysius Yap, and in the Hanoi Open against the eventual winner Jason Shaw. Not a single elimination at the Spanish Open, but went no further. Actually beaten in the last 64 by Emil Andre Gainflow. And had Chua won that match, he would have had a rematch against Joshua Filler, who he had actually already beaten 9-1 in winners' qualification. As it was, Gainflow went through to play Filler and actually beat him.
Jeremy Jones' 7 racks up. I think he's practicing, you know. I did walk past him and he was at the table. When I come back, it didn't look like he had an opponent, so I just presumed his opponent had gone for a bathroom break. So I don't know if his opponent's shown up.
Well, Jeremy seemed to think he may not have shown up for his first match, but surely if he didn't turn up, he just would have been given a walkover, wouldn't he? Or has he maybe not withdrawn, so Jeremy just has to stay at the table and keep being awarded racks.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing because you can use the time to A, practice, and B, sky for your commentary gig, Michael.
I know that's the only reason you've entered the tournament, Carl. Still, on the money they pay you to do this, you'd have to win the tournament to make playing more lucrative than the comms.
Well, I wish I was a pound behind you, Michael. Chua's just lost the cue ball a little bit. You could hear the tap with the chalk. That was his way of trying to talk to the cue ball. Should still be okay, I know that, but now and again he's under pressure. He'll know Bernie very well. These two, I'm sure, they're good friends. And he's fired it into the bottom jaw. Believe me, if you've not got a good cue ball here this week, now and again, you'll miss certain balls. You could see he actually jumped up off the shot as well.
In a match as closely contested as this, where there's been so little to choose between them throughout, a moment like that could be of huge significance. Okay, so big chance for Regalario now. He has led in the match before. He won the first rack, but since then the only time he's been in front was all the way back at 3-2.
This is quite thin. Yeah, well done. Wants his cue ball to slow down, leave an easy shot in the middle. Well, there's a bit of an angle on it, but he's a big favourite to pot this 9, to steal the rack with just 2 balls left.
Yeah, looked like he was going behind once again, but once Chua missed the 8 from distance, Regalario mopped up. So he is now 3 racks away from victory. He leads 6-5. We were talking about Jeremy Jones there being 7-0 up against Cameron Elliott. We were discussing the circumstances because we don't know them. Whether there's an opponent there or not, Jones is on the hill now because it is race to 8. So that's on the loser's side. Race to 9 in this round we're watching here, and it's 5-all between Cliff Castelline and Dimitri Jungo. Roman Hibler now 4-3 up against the improving young Serbian player, Alexa Pescelj. Abdullah Al Yusuf has got his nose in front of Babken Melkonyan at 4-3, so he's won 4 of the last 5 racks in that one. Duong Kwok Wang just needs a couple more, 7-2 up on Danny Olsen. Winner of that will play Petri Makinen, who had a fine win a short time ago against fast-rising Philippines player Michael Feliciano. And Claudio Cacci 6-4 up on Dennis Graba. We were speculating about Claudio Cacci as to whether or not he might decide to concentrate more on snooker, where he's got a good reputation, but apparently, you were telling me in Germany, Carl, he's decided this is the game for him and he wants to put all his eggs in this basket.
Yeah, I spoke to him again this morning and he confirmed it, Michael, so he feels like he's got more opportunity in the world of 9-ball. He knows what Matchroom are trying to achieve with the WNT. Let's have a look at Bernie's break. It's a good one. 2 balls going to find the top rail. Work to do here. Well, he's hooked anyway, so it'll be the push out. Well, we often talk about the Ko brothers, don't we? So there's 3 brothers. There's Ko Pinhan as well, but it's the 2 major winners who seem to get all the limelight. So we've got another couple of brothers now to contend with.
Well, that would be quite something if we had a World Cup match where brothers were up against each other. Claudio hasn't played in the World Cup yet, but you have to think he's the likely partner for Eklund Cacci in this year's staging. Albania have won a few matches in the World Cup over the last few years.
Push out will be called. If you're tuning in for the first time and wondering what he's doing, he's playing what we call a push or a roll out. So you just put the cue ball where you want on the table. You can hit another ball, you can pot a ball. But your opponent, in this case Johann Chua, has the option to play this shot. It's quite a good side to the game, this, because you can really think about the player you're playing. If you know a player is pretty weak in the long game department, as in the potting, or maybe a poor kicker of the ball, or a poor jumper of the ball, you can really test them. He doesn't know what to do, does he? Do I play or do I pass it back?
We were discussing Jeremy Jones and whether or not his match was actually going ahead. We will obviously confirm that with him, but either way, we can confirm he has now been declared an 8-0 winner over Cameron Elliott, so he's through to the second round on the loser's side. Could actually play Anton Raga in it, because he'll play the loser of Raga's match against the Estonian, Karl Naderberg. Regalario bidding to be the first player in this match to lead by more than one rack at any stage. And it's no great surprise really, Carl, that it's been that way, because even though Chua is more experienced of the two, I think we would have seen it as a pretty evenly matched contest at the start.
Yeah, you always felt like this one could go close as the pair trade racks. Kicking 2 rails. Hit it full. Needs a bit of help here because there's no real cover. He's going to leave a pot, maybe even a 9. Well, he can't pot the 2, can he? But there you can see what he's faced with. That gives you a little idea. Oh, he's got to chase the 9 ball here, Michael, hasn't he? Again, if you're new to watching, as long as you hit the lowest ball, if another ball goes in, you stay at the table. But if it's the 9, you win the rack.
And this is to leave us level for the 6th time in the match. Yeah, it's exactly what's happened. So Johann Chua levels with Bernie Regalario once again. It's now 6-all.
6 times they've been level. That's a stat.
Yep, been level at every possible juncture. You could say 7 times, of course, because obviously they were level at the start of the match. So I think we're getting into splitting hairs at that stage. We don't have many of them left to split at this stage, Carl. Dennis Graba has won what looks like it was a very long 11th rack against Claudio Cacci to close to 6-5 down. Duong Kwok Hwang, newly crowned Scottish Open champion, is on the hill against American Danny Olsen at 8-2, so he just needs one more to set up a clash with Finland's Petri Mäkinen. Because that was a fairly short rack, not a huge amount of progress to report in other matches since we last updated you. I can tell you, though, that Viktor Zielinski of Poland is now underway against the British player Phil Burford. And Zielinski has won the opening rack in that one, also in this round. Going all the way back to round 1, Jake Newlove now on the hill at 8-7 against Kevin May. The reason we're keeping a close eye on that one is because the winner will play the 2022 World Champion Shane Van Boning. In fact, Newlove has just claimed that prize by closing it out at 9-7. 6-all in this.
Where's this cue ball going to go? It's okay.
So with that all-British match finishing, there are only 2 matches still going in the first round. Jan van Lierop of the Netherlands leading Spain's Javier del Santo 7-4. Pia Filler is 3-1 up on Chris Watanawana of Thailand. You can watch that one actually if you wish on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. That's going on over on table 2. Of course, half the field still have to play their first round matches tomorrow.
It's all about angles. Just wants a nice angle on this red 3 to then get on the pink 4. Needs a nice angle on that pink 4 because he's got to get back down for the green 6. The purple 5 is no longer on the table. You can still cheat these pockets, as always. You need to be able to cheat the pockets, otherwise you're not playing 9-ball, are you? But your cue ball's just got to be a bit cuter.
It's a term we use a lot, Carl, and it almost implies that something untoward is going on when you use the word cheating, but it's not that at all. So explain to us, if you would, people who may not be that familiar with the game, what exactly that term means.
Yeah, it just means you can hit the rail on the way down if a ball's near the rail. You can sort of float them down the rail and aim near jaw. Obviously in snooker you've got to aim far jaw, because if you catch the near jaw, it just won't go in, will it? 9-ball's different. You aim to the near side of the jaw on the pocket. Might have to pump this quite hard, which means he could land straight on the green 6, and straight is a no-go. Cue ball might find the rail. This is not as easy as it looks now. He's got to play it with maybe a tiny bit of right spin. He might get away with playing ball, but the cue ball's going close to the 9, the left side of the 9, that is. You've got to watch that top left corner pocket. He's clearly feeling it, Michael. He's up and down a lot. That's what he's faced with. Maybe he can find that top right on rail as we look at the TV. Yeah, there he goes. It's nice. Doesn't want to be straight. The bounce will help. Well done. Could play for the 9 in either pocket here. Depends how you want to stroke the cue ball. Some players have played for the 9 in the other pocket. He's decided to swing it round 2 rails. I always feel like it's one of them where there's no right shot there, it's each to their own. He clearly likes striking the cue ball like that, so I expect him to play the cue ball the same way on this shot.
And with that, Chua gets his nose 1 in front again at 7-6. He's inching his way towards victory, but Regalario still only 1 behind him. Johann Chua came here on a roll after winning the Scottish Open, his first ranking title at the weekend. And he's continued that into today. A 9-2 winner over Spencer Oliver earlier. And now he's beaten the American Danny Olsen by the same score. So he will play Petri Mäkinen, the former World Cup winner from Finland, for a place in the single elimination stage. Mario He, Austrian player, more than capable of winning a tournament like this. He's taken the opening rack in this round against George Antonakis. Eddie Okachi still just ahead of Dennis Graber at 6-5, playing for the right to face Torsten Home. And Abdullah Al Yusuf has really turned it around. He's won 6 of the last 7 racks now, the former world semi-finalist, to lead Babken Melkonyan of Romania at 6-3. A lot of matches level at the moment. Cliff Castelline and Dimitri Jungo are 6-all. Alexa Pechelge and Roman Hibbler are 4-all. Ko Ping Chung, the US Open champion, is just starting against Mikael Ågaard of Norway. Tom Stavely of Britain has won the first rack against recent ranking event winner Hona Suto. And Victor Zielinski has now made it 2-0 against the British player Phil Burford. So, Chua needs to find a couple more to advance.
He's got a fantastic break, this kid. He really has. He absolutely thumps them. I love it. I love to see it. And that's why he's making more balls than anybody else. And what I mean by that is he's making not just the yellow 1 ball, he's made the 8 ball this time because he's getting the balls moving around the table more. He's got work to do though. The pink 4's tied up. That's the problem. I wonder if he'll try a cheeky exhibition shot here. Pot the 2, go off the 1 rail and come over and try and bump into the pink. That would be, well, that would be a highlight reel for sure. He might have a go at this, you know. Saying that, maybe that's a bit naive. Because he can pop the 3 ball and play the easiest hook behind the brown 7. Well, decision time. Plays with flair. I think he had a half-hearted attempt, but it's the hook. Don't blame him. If he can get the cue ball touching that brown 7, Bernie is in all kinds. And I was in this position myself in my match, Michael. If you can pinch this rack and get 8-6 up, it's a wonderful feeling. Even though you can still lose, and you know that, it just helps you relax a bit in the chair.
Well, even more so in this match when you consider that will be the first time either player had any daylight. I can tell, Carl, you're really getting the enthusiasm back. You're loving being a competitor again, the way you're talking about these matches.
Yeah, it's just the fact that the way I've just won the match, you know, it gives you that little bit of a buzz, doesn't it? But I do think, because I've played in Scotland, and obviously I've played one match here, I feel like I'm seeing things different because I've experienced it on this table, you see. As where before, I hadn't experienced it. Probably get beat 9-0 next match, Michael.
Well, you played a couple of events quite close together, didn't you, a couple of years ago? Because, as I remember, when you were a last-minute replacement as part of that hastily assembled Britain C team that got to the World Cup final, didn't you play the World Championship just after that? And did all right, as I recall.
Yeah, I played the Worlds literally about 2 weeks later. You know, Emily or the team, I can't remember who it was, said I could play it if I wanted, and because obviously I'd done well at the World Cup, I thought, well, listen, why not? I mean, listen, everyone knows why I stopped playing pool. It was a complete shambles. You know, things are changing. They're changing for the better. So it wasn't like I stopped playing because I didn't feel like I could compete. I just didn't want to be a part of what was on offer. So I played in the World Championships. I think Ruiz gave me a right battering in the last 32.
When you're saying that you stopped playing because you didn't like what was on offer then, when you see what's on offer now, clearly that suggests you're going to play a number of these events.
Well, you sort of can't, can you? Because you're not a World 9-Ball Tour pro, so you can't play in the Invitationals, and they're the events you're desperate to play in, aren't you? It's like this event. If you're Joshua Filler or Jason Shaw, you're desperate to make it to the last 16. If you don't get to the last 16, you've failed at the event, because you want to be there when Sky Sports are there. You know, that's where you're going to get the sponsors and the recognition, you know, playing live on TV.
But if the opportunity was there, say you did well in this and then played in another one and got some more ranking points, and then the options are there for you to play a number of the tournaments, is it something that now appeals to you again?
I just don't think the option's there because, like I said, you've got to be a World 9-Ball Tour pro, haven't you? Unless, like, there's a wildcard spot available for World Championships.
But you could become a World 9-Ball Tour pro.
Well, maybe Jason needs a partner for the World Cup or something, I don't know.
Yeah, you see, you're planning out a schedule now.
I think you'd miss me too much. All you do is give me stick when I go off to play a match.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, but when you're playing, it gives me the opportunity to slag you off when you're not even here to hear it.
Well, playing the safety shot is proving to be the right decision. Could have took a gamble. Would have been a gamble going into the cluster. Decided not to. And it looks like it's going to pay off because he's going to be the first player in this match between the two Filipinos to be on the hill.
Yeah, and not just that. It's the first time anyone's more than one clear. Johann Chua was 6-5 down, but he's won 3 racks in a row now, and he's on the hill, as you say, Carl, against Bernie Regalario at 8-6. Claudio Cacci has won away from the hill against Dennis Graba. That one is 7-5 also in this round. Alexa Pechelj has won the 9th rack to lead Roman Hibbler, the experienced Czech player, by 5 racks to 4. Cliff Castelline now 7-6 up on Dimitri Jungo. Ko Pin-Yi, the recently deposed and so now former World Masters champion, is just starting against the British player So Shaw, who we often see in these events. Nguyen Tan, one of the leading lights in the emerging Vietnamese contingent on the tour, is level at 1-1 with American Jeremy Sosai. Mikael Ogard, a big outsider against the US Open champion Ko Ping Chung. But the Norwegian has taken the first rack in that. 1-1 between Jonas Suto and Tom Stavely. Robbie Capito, US Open quarter-finalist last year. 1-0 up on former world finalist Kwo Po Cheng. Max Lechner has won the first rack against Antonis Braben. Seems to play under a different name at each event we see him. Victor Zielinski still 2-0 up on Phil Burford. So, Chua, the World Cup winner, needs one more rack to advance.
Listen to the noise off this break. Absolute thumps it. But it's still a dry break. Bit of life left here. 8-6 in a race to 9. When you just need them last 3, you are well still in the match. Especially winner breaks, because if Bernie can steal this rack somehow or win this rack, he's got the break in the next, and then you know what it's like, Michael, 8-all, anyone can win.
Well, the last match you and I commentated on together was, what, 9 days ago in Hildesheim, and Joshua Filler was in exactly the position Chua's in now, 2 up with 3 to play, but better Gorst got the momentum at the end and won.
Yeah, what a final that was, wasn't it? You know, I thought Fedor hung him really well in that match. I think Filler, on reflection, if he looks back, he'll feel like that one got away because he had opportunities to really get a healthy lead, I felt. But listen, when you've got the trophy cabinet like Filler's, who cares?
Oh, but Regalario will certainly care about that because it may well be his last shot in this match. We can't mention the World Masters, Carl, without me making up for my one regret from that tournament, which is that I didn't point out in the final that of the 3 of us, I was the one who picked Gorst at the start. I think you went for Ocean, didn't you?
Yeah, we conveniently forgot about your pick.
Well, the win did rather catch us by surprise at the end.
That shot that Bernie has just missed is exactly why we need to be playing on a table like this, because he didn't quite hit it clean. And if them balls are... Wow, what a moment this is. Bernie Regalario sticks the 2 over the pocket. Johann Chua sends the cue ball across the arena.
And you know, in a funny sort of way, it's really appropriate that that happened, because I'm not saying it's been littered with mistakes, certainly not on that scale, but it's been the sort of match where every time it looks like someone's going to take a significant upper hand, something unexpected has happened. And that was very unexpected. Something else that's unexpected is that So Shaw won the first rack against last year's World Masters champion Ko Pin-Yi, and he's just won the second one as well. The winner of that will play the winner of this.
So Shaw's he's an unusual character, you know, Michael. He's the type of player where he literally does not care. So he'll send the balls flying around the table. He'll go for jump shots. He'll go for crazy shots. And you could be sat in your chair thinking, what is he doing? And he plays super quick. So we'll keep an eye on that match. That's an intriguing one.
That might be another British Shaw who can make an impact here.
Cue ball needs to settle down here. It looked a bit pacey, didn't it? He's got fortunate that it's landed there. He can just pop this 7 in the corner. Got to make sure you still get the cue ball moving here. You don't want to leave yourself, yeah, one of them funny little 8 balls. He's obviously playing for the brown 7 to pot it in the right centre. That's how much he overhit this ball by. Yeah, well done. Really got the cue ball moving there to leave the 8 ball straight. Couple of stop shots away, and it's game on.
So frustrating for Chua. These could all have been his. Did the high hurdles on the 2 ball, sat down for the rest of the rack. So Bernie Regalario is now breaking with a chance to take us to a hill finish, which has looked highly likely throughout the contest. 8-7 now to Chua. Cliff Castelline is on the hill against Dimitri Youngo at 8-6. Castelline, the Belgian player, isn't he the guy you played in the final when you entered that tournament a couple of months ago?
Yes, very talented left-handed player. I was speaking to him in Belgium, really nice fella actually, and he's always worked, but this year, Michael, he's having a year out. He's having a year off work. I believe his company has said to him, listen, go and chase it, we'll give you a year out. If it doesn't work, come back. So he will be playing on the World 9-Ball Tour. Like I said, he's a very, very handy cueist, left-hander.
Given that Alban Ocean couldn't beat you, Konrad Yasusin couldn't beat you, and Hona Suto as well, you beat him in Scotland as well, didn't you? And Cliff Castelline managed to beat you, so must be a decent player. Ko Ping-yi has won the 3rd rack, so now 2-1 behind against So Shaw. And Ko Ping Han, his younger brother, has taken the opener against the British 50-something Imran Majid. Regalario, 8-7 down.
Where's this 2 ball going? He has got an easy hook to play though. Just because of all these balls, Michael, if you look at the 9 ball, the purple 5 and the brown 7, that's a big target. He's just thinking about the 2 ball. That's what he's thinking about at the minute. He could actually pot the 2 past the 8, but that's very thin, so I don't see him taking that option on.
I told you Ko Ping Chung, the US Open champion, had lost the first against Mikhail Ogard. He's now lost the second as well, so the Norwegian is 2-0 up. I wonder if that's ever happened before. All 3 of the Ko brothers playing at the same time in one of these events. You wouldn't want to be one of their parents at the event, because you'd be in a no-win situation trying to pick which match to watch. Daniel Guttenberger of Austria has a 3-0 lead over the very useful player, Si Chao Chen.
Got to hit this ball. Got to hit a rail after contact, which he did. The 3 ball hit a couple of rails. Can pot it in the bottom left. I'm not quite sure the natural path of the cue ball though. again, them 3 balls, he could get the cue ball welded on the purple 5 and the 9. Yeah, look at the cue ball come. Wants it touching though, otherwise leave the jump shot. Oh, has he left the rail first? Huge error if he has. If Chua can see the back rail, that is a nightmare shot he's played. Look how big the target was. Do you think that sneaks through, Michael, on that bottom rail? It's tight, isn't it?
Yeah, extremely tight. Normally when you get the overhead view, it answers the question for you, but I'm not sure it makes it any more conclusive.
Yeah, the reason why he wanted to be touching one of them 3 balls is because it cuts off this rail. He's going to the back rail. It's a big favourite to pot the blue 2 here. Well, I was getting giddy. Not in that pocket. I didn't think he'd pot it in this pocket. Wow, look at that.
It's one of those that once it comes to rest, you're still watching it for about 10 seconds thinking it's bound to topple over. So, how does he get himself out of this one?
1 rail kick, he will go close. Players have a bit of a guideline. They know from the bottom right corner pocket to the centre of the left rail, you would always scratch at a nice pace. So he can work this out. At this level, he should pot the 2 ball. I don't know where the cue ball's going to go, but he should pot the 2. That'll do. That will do.
Yeah, that was the question, really. Obviously, the pot was straightforward enough, but needs a bit of fortune from a positional sense, I guess, and looks to have had it. Have you ever played anyone from Indonesia before?
Well, I've been to Indonesia playing a few times, Michael. Yeah, I actually won quite a big speed pool tournament.
Oh, was that the Guinness thing?
Yeah, it was in Jakarta.
Yeah, of course it was, yeah.
Yeah, they like the pool over there. It's another one of them, you know, like Vietnam, where we're all like, wow, they like the pool in Vietnam. Indonesia's very similar.
Yeah, Alvin Anggito, your opponent later. It's a big mystery to me why Indonesia has never really done very much in the world of sport at all. It's, I think, the 4th most populated country in the world. Sport is massively popular there, but nothing much ever seems to come out of there in terms of success.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with what you're saying, Michael, the stat man. Although earlier on, me and Phil were chuckling. He was commentating with Jeremy. I don't know if he told you, he did say the US Open. Has he told you?
In what context?
He was talking about this event and he said the US Open. Phil Yates was loving it.
Well, I think it's just Phil's bad hearing at his age. I think you're allowed to be 1 letter out on the opening day.
It was quite funny. He said that would really annoy you. Well, this is dangerous. He's looking at, does he swing round into the cluster of 3, but you're just not guaranteed a shot, are you? You would really be throwing all your eggs in one basket playing that shot. You have to feel the play here is try and get on the 4 ball and then play the hook on the 5. Well, he's going into these. You just don't know where the cue ball's going to go. Could even scratch in the top right pocket where his head is.
Well, there we go. Didn't scratch in that pocket, but scratched in the other top one.
Just didn't like it. You know, when you look at the master tacticians of the game, you know, if you look at someone like Ralph Souquet or Darren Appleton, they're never playing that shot. They just wouldn't. They couldn't live with himself just crashing into balls.
By the way, I have the perfect excuse for being 1 letter out at the name of the tournament earlier, because last night I was staying in the hotel next door to the Crucible after the World Snooker Final. I'd had about an hour's sleep, and then the fire alarm went off 5 times. And I was up early to travel over here today, so I'm doing well to even still be standing up.
Was that Karen Wilson celebrating, setting all the
Well,
alarms off?
that thought did occur to me.
I thought it was because you were wearing a snazzy US Open jersey.
Yeah, well, I was wearing it at the Crucible, actually. It got a lot of attention. See, I'm spreading the pool gospel.
I really believe he's going to slide down past the 7 and play safe. That's what he's doing. Again, these shots, it's so crucial you get the cue ball touching the brown 7. Or any ball. When you're playing a safety shot, you'd love to get it touching the ball you're playing the hook behind. It cuts out so many options. Yep, I believe he's done that. So he can't go above left centre pocket now to get to that rail to make it an easy kick. So it looks like he's got to come off the bottom rail and the side rail, probably the top rail. Just makes kicking so difficult.
Under pressure here. Classic case of one wrong move. Could be your last move. Teddy Okachi on the hill now. That's a match we've been keeping a close eye on. He leads Dennis Grabber 8-5. So unless the Estonian wins the last 4 racks, that'll be a real clash of the generations between the younger Kachi brother and Torsten Homan in the winners' qualification round.
Hit the purple 5, or you're into the loser's side or the left side of the draw. I know Jeremy Jones often talks about the speed of kick shots, very clever on a pool table is JJ, and kind of get the feeling this is what he would be saying if he was here with us, Michael. Kind of a medium-ish pace, just trying to get that 5 ball on one of the rails, not to leave a pot. Here we go. Is he going 3 rails or 2? 1, 2, 3, and he's missed it. Give up ball in hand.
Okay, so we've seen mistakes, we've seen unexpected twists throughout. But Johann Chua can put all of that out of his mind now. Just concentrate. Taking ball in hand. Plotting these 5 remaining balls to claim his place in the winners' qualification round. It's a match in which he would have been made favourite before the start, but probably only a marginal favourite, really.
Just wants to make sure he leaves the cue ball perfect to get on the brown 7. He'll play the brown 7 up into the top right corner. He won't start playing for combinations. Well, I say that was his intention, but he's overrun the cue ball. He might have to play the combo now.
Guess we sort of knew with the sort of match it's been, it wouldn't be entirely straightforward, even with ball in hand.
This was not the intended plan from Mr. Chua. And believe me, when there's a distance like this between 7 ball and 8 ball, you can miss. He's a big favourite. But look at that, the 7 ball has followed it in. Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't in the plan, so bank shot for the match.
He must be thinking, how have I potted both balls there? That was wild. He will be playing this bank shot, as Michael said. There's no way you would never take this on. I get the impression he'll hit it hard as well. He's that type of player. A lot of players would try and get the cue ball on the bottom rail as a bit of an insurance policy.
So a match in which neither player could really take a firm grip on it at any stage. Johann Chua was 6-5 down, but he then won 4 of the next 5 racks. He didn't intend to leave himself the bank shot for the match, but once he has dispatched it. Chua the winner over Bernie Regalario in the All-Philippines clash by 9 racks to 7, and he will now play So Shaw or Ko Pin Yi for a place in the single elimination stage. Stay with us for more action in just a few minutes' time on this opening day of the UK Open.